This episode of Apparitions Paranormal is brought to you by Stone Masters of Idaho, your number one source of stone, tile, and concrete surface restorations. For more information, call 208-890-5755 or visit stonemastersofidaho.com.
Welcome to Apparitions Paranormal.
Spirit back home with me as a friend. Do you need our help to get out of here? Are you stuck here?
On this episode of Apparitions Paranormal, we take you with us on our travels to Winnemucca, Nevada to investigate claims of paranormal activity at the Humboldt County Museum. According to employees and patrons alike, disembodied voices have been occasionally heard, a brief manifestation of a ghostly lady has been seen, and growls were once heard during a Halloween party held at this location. Are these reports simply the result of mass hysteria? Or could they really be legitimate encounters with specters from another realm? Apparition seeks to find out.
Joyce, can you kind of give me a rundown of some of the personal experiences you've had in the museum that you felt were a little out of the ordinary?
One afternoon I was here late evening. It wasn't quite dark, but I was standing outside that door bagging garbage.
Okay.
Putting garbage. And just looked up and this lady crossed the hall where the picture is.
Right through here?
Into the wall. Yeah, right across. She had on a high neck dress, puff sleeves, longer dress, piled hair, and a little bit. We had a haunted night here right before Halloween a year ago, and we actually sold tickets. I mean, capping in on a little bit here. We were all sitting in this area of the room. It was like close to midnight, but we had the Northern Nevada ghost hunters with us, and they were picking up different things using rods and EVPs.
Yeah, EVPs, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But we were just talking about different things, and over in that corner by where the gas pump is, we heard a growl. It was like a big dog growl.
Okay.
It wasn't, what was that? It just didn't sound friendly. It really made us very uncomfortable. One other experience we had, that with this Native American beadwork, we changed it, but this used to say go. The thread and the needle were placed so that it was a G and an O.
Oh, and you would, it placed itself that way?
Yes.
Interesting.
This when we did the inventory in here, we took it apart and we set it in this configuration just to see if it hasn't as yet, but it was very interesting to look down and say go.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Again, this is our 1880s Greenstein building.
Okay.
Originally, it was a Nevada hide and junk store owned by the Greenstein family. Father and son had it, operated it as an entire business from the front to back, process and hand hides in here. Later on, they closed off these back two rooms and made it their dwelling, and the front room remained an office.
Okay. So back here, you say that this was originally turned into a house?
Eventually, it was turned into a home.
Oh, later.
Later.
Not
later.
at first.
At first, it was a full business front to back.
Okay.
And then these back two rooms became a home.
Okay.
Front remained an office.
Is there anything special we should know about this particular building?
Well, we did have reports of the black mass going between this room and that room through this corridor back and forth, which corresponds to the story of this back 2 rooms being a home. So you can see that door was added later on.
Okay.
And if you look on the other side of the wall up at the ceiling, you'll see where it's charred, and that's where they used to process the hides before they turned it into a home. You can see the cupboards are fitted over that charred up at the ceiling.
I see. Okay.
So that's just evidence to prove, yes, this was a home second after it was the business that processed the hides.
Okay. Now, I was telling you earlier that when we went through here before, that I had sensed what I perceived to be a 13 or 14-year-old girl, 15 at the latest, with auburn hair, long curly, a dress, a yellow dress with white, almost lacy collar. Yeah, and I felt that she may have died in childbirth once we got to this room. Now, could you go ahead and just tell me what one of your patrons had told you? A little boy? How old?
Well, this house was in the family for 103 years. The family didn't reside here the entire time. They rented it out to families as well. One of those families in particular had a son. The son stayed in this back bedroom.
Okay.
He woke in the middle of the night, and this woman told him to take all of his blankets, shove them in the fish tank, and come here. He did. Followed her out into the parlor. He was standing here having a conversation with the woman for 20 minutes, and his parents were just watching.
Okay.
He is 26 years old and adamant to this day that happened. He will tell you it happened.
And he described the lady?
He did describe her as a white woman with a white, light-colored dress, taller than him, but of course he was a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
So if she was 14, 15, she would have been taller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the hair was about shoulder length, he said.
Okay, he didn't tell you what color the hair was?
It was a light brown.
Light brown? Just what the good impression that I was getting. So it sounds to me like him and I came up with a very similar description.
Very similar, absolutely.
So that's interesting. Subjectively, that's interesting. Now, hopefully, through our investigation, we can actually get objective evidence to back up the claim. Shall we go ahead and make our way to the church?
Moved here in 1976, and when it was in operation as the Episcopal Church, they did have trouble keeping a preacher here.
Okay.
One was actually beaten and killed.
Okay.
Another one, the wife, she was 26 years old. She died the day after Christmas, right about here.
Do you know her name was?
I can find out.
Okay.
But she had a heart attack. 26.
26. Okay. All right. And is there a basement?
There's a full basement if you'd like to go down there.
Yeah.
The other thing that I have question about is the subterranean. We do know that there was cemetery in this vicinity, Chinese cemetery, and those remains are all scraped up into a gravel pit and buried, and they are still in this park, under the road in the vicinity of this museum.
I see.
So that's something to think about. But other than just being poked, I have not really had much of a problem with any kind of reports.
Now that we had a complete walkthrough of the museum, it was time to gear up for the next phase of our undertaking, the investigation itself.
Little lady or anybody within the sound of my voice that is in this house, you don't need to hide or be afraid. We mean you no harm. All right, so let's kill all the lights. Little ladies, I understand this was a ladies' boarding house for teachers, and that this particular room was used as a midwifery room. I had gotten an impression with my first initial walkthrough that there was a girl between the age of 13 and 15 who...
I just saw an orb go by.
You did?
Yep, right by your head.
Basically, who passed away in this room as a result of a complicated childbirth. And I had a vision of you. You were wearing a beautiful yellowish dress with lacy collar. You had beautiful long auburn, darkish hair that were in curls. And when I had told that to the curator of this museum, they had informed me that a person who has a history with this house, a little boy, reported that same person that I described. And I was wondering if you could tell me what your name is. Our goal is not to hurt you in any way, just to get your story, just to be able to tell your story to the land of the living, to let other people know a little more about you so that you're not forgotten. Who are you? Little lady, can you tell me what your name is?
I saw an orb go by.
Interesting. You sure it wasn't like an insect?
No, it was an orb. Came by really quick.
Okay.
Like a second before I said it.
Okay. Just feel free to speak into this box. It'll help us to hear your voice on playback. We may not hear you in real time. Shout onto the box if you have to. If that's what it takes to get your voice over, just shout. We'd just like to know your name, and can you tell me how old you are? How old were you when you died? Can you tell me how old you were? And could you also tell me how you died? Just feel free to speak into this box. It will help me to hear your voice. What about you, teachers? Can you tell me what your names are? Is there any teacher still residing in this house? What's the name of the dog, the little dog that's in this house that I thought I saw? Can somebody answer me that? Don't be shy. We mean you no harm. I'm going to set the recording device on this table. If you could speak into it, that would be good. We greatly appreciate it.
Is there anybody here? If someone is here, can you please speak into the box that Geoff holds, either into the silver box or into the camera itself. We would love to hear your voice.
Don't be afraid. If you could just speak into this box.
We're spiking over 10.
I'm almost inclined to think that there might be something
Electrical right there.
electrical through that wall.
Now it's gone. Good.
Could be. That's interesting. Everything's off, so it shouldn't be. And right there, it's a little boy.
Strange about a 5.
Now it's climbing.
Are you in front of me right now?
What's your name? It's interesting that it would just jump like that. Oh.
See, the thing is, before when I was coming down here, I did not get this reading.
Yeah, I know, you didn't. Can you make it jump? Can you make it really spike?
Can you make it quiet now?
Can you make it quiet by just... Can you make it completely quiet? Just stepping back toward me.
Step behind Geoff, please. Not me, the other Geoff.
Ah, it's interesting. Can you make it drop now? If that's you, can you make it drop?
Can you make it drop?
Make it drop for us.
Can you please make it drop?
Interesting. Thank you.
With our recording devices filled to capacity, the time had come to wrap another investigation, go home, and carefully analyze the data for any objective proof for the claims of this place.
Guys, I think that, we spent about a little over 3 hours in here. We've covered the grounds, all the buildings pretty thoroughly, with the IR, with the video, with the audio. I think it's just time to go ahead and gather up the equipment, break down the stationaries, and call it a day.
Sounds good.
All right, great. So the first thing I want to bring to your attention is our photographs. So we'll just start going through them. And this is very interesting. Let me blow it up here. This is very interesting because if you look real careful, and I'm going to try to zoom in and pull it down. If you look in the mirror, there's a female form there. You can see part of the arm and the hand.
The doorway?
In the doorway, it being reflected in the mirror. She's got blonde hair. She's wearing a blue type of shirt, flat-chested, so I don't think she's completely, she hasn't reached total maturity. Can you see her? Should we go in a little closer if we can? Get a little closer. You see her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you can see her hand, and you can see part of her arm. And it's almost like she's in a nightgown, because you can see the white part, and then it's almost like the robe over the top of that. And she's just kind of peeking around the corner, kind of standing like this, looking around what's going on into the room. And she's solid in form.
Yeah, and color.
Yeah, and but she wasn't seen when the photo was taken. So I dismissed that, but this is definitely an orb. And you can tell orbs usually over other things because when you get close to an orb, they almost have a membrane around them. I'll show you what I mean. You can almost see like a circling membrane around them. So that's how we know we've caught an orb, mostly, because it's almost like it's got a, like a wall around it. Yeah. Now, I wonder if you can see anything interesting or out of the ordinary in that picture.
In the glass in the case?
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, there is nobody, and we're going to show you 2 others that were taken in succession shortly after this. This is in the church. When we pull in, move it down, you can see somebody sitting in the pew reflected in the glass. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Though you don't see them sitting in the pew,
Mm-hmm.
and they would be sitting right about here.
Yeah.
Starts right off with it.
Starts right off and plain, very plain.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay, next. You heard that one?
That's amazing.
This is a grade A EVP, and I would call this an ultra grade A EVP. It's so distinct. And it is a male voice saying, "Help me, Jesus." Okay.
Oh, sad.
Okay.
Okay.
And you won't have to guess at this one. That's how good this EVP is.
Jeez. That was amazing.
Now
He's
keep in mind-
stressed. You
yeah,
can hear
he's
it.
stressed. Now keep in mind, we didn't hear this. This is a grade A EVP. It's an unbelievable EVP. It's one of the best. Little boy, maybe at the most 14 to 15 years old at the most, saying Superwoman. Okay. Oh wait, wrong one, sorry. Gotta go over here, right here. Now if you listen, you can tell it's a boy's voice. You can tell it's a boy's voice, and it's very plain. And there was nobody there. One more time?
Really?
One more time?
Was there anything before and after that?
No, nothing. That was it. So that's why we tagged it and cut that clip out.
Wow.
Here to cause any harm. I'd just like to get to know you. Well, I hope I was able to catch your voice on this tape. Here to cause any harm. I'd just like to get to know you. Well, I hope I was able to catch your voice on this tape. Okay, now I got it. Okay, now I got it. Notice that there's a Humboldt star. Notice that there's a Humboldt star. Well, if you want to continue to talk to us, you can just follow us over there. Jesus. That is one. Well, if you want to continue to talk to us, you can just follow us over there. Jesus. That is one.
It kind of formed higher and then it wiggled up. And I kept walking towards it. I got right up to here and I went in front of the elevator. It kind of formed higher and then it wiggled up. And I kept walking towards it. I got right up to here and I went in front of the elevator.
Yeah, if you're exposed to high EMF levels, it can actually cause you to hallucinate, to hear things, to see things, and it's just because of the field. It's actually messing with your brain. Yeah, if you're exposed to high EMF levels, it can actually cause you to hallucinate, to hear things, to see things, and it's just because of the field. It's actually messing with your brain. What was that? Did you say something? What was that? Did you say something? Awfully quiet.
became even brighter and more defined, and it moved up towards the top, and then up. As I got closer, it went up in front of the elevator and just shut off. It became even brighter and more defined, and it moved up towards the top, and then up. As I got closer, it went up in front of the elevator and just shut off.
Something
That's right there.
I'd like to go through that wall.
Out front.
I'm almost inclined to think that there might be something
That's right there.
I'd like to go through that wall.
Out front.
Superwoman. Superwoman.
I saw an oak go by.
Interesting. You sure it wasn't like an insect?
No, it was an orb.
Show yourself to us, that'd be perfectly fine. You could show yourself to us, that'd be perfectly fine. You mean you no harm, we really do not.
Make this presence known up the sky.
And you can't really say it.